English language is new language for them. So to master it, English language, it needs a long period process and also need years of ceaseless practice to understand it, to master it. Additionally, learners of English are barred to not only new content words such as noun, verb, adjective, and also adverb, but also function words such as articles, auxiliary, prepositions, etc. And then particular word classes that can be deemed as notoriously problematic to acquire from any new language is prepositions. It's based on Callistal 2050. And English prepositions, also called particles, are never-ending problem for English learners of English. Why this is a very serious problem for Indonesian learners? Because two languages between Indonesian and English, they have different system. Indonesian prepositions has different system from English prepositions. I mean, in Indonesia, to state precise positions or time, users of Indonesian language may choose between pada and di, which refers to in, on, and at in English language. And then, wait a minute. Furthermore, prepositions are notoriously difficult and don't cease to lead perplexity and uncertainty to Indonesian learners, even at fairly advanced level learning. The reasons behind the phenomena are multivarious. Firstly, the meanings in English prepositions are diverse, unpredictable, and seems to be determined by the linguistic context in which the prepositions come about. Secondly, divergent prepositions employed with the same lexical word have divergent and quite often confusing meanings, such as look at, look on, look up, look into, look for.
Pak Agus, mohon maaf, di tampilan saya dan lainnya, slide Anda tertutup. Nah, terima kasih.
Look for. Okay, sorry. So, teaching preposition is perplexing prospect as they are typical short, can effortlessly go unnoticed, and the actuality that every single preposition can contain manifold meanings relying on the context in which they are utilized, according to Song et al. 2050. And then English foreign language learners, like Indonesian learners, possess various difficulties when using English prepositions, regardless of native language. There are previous studies shows that difficulties persist for learners whose native language is like Chinese. It is a study from Yuan 2014, and then mother tongue German, the study undertaken by Rankin and Sichner 2011, native language Norwegian, investigations undertaken by Nancy and I don't know how to spell it, Redler 2015, and then mother tongue Thailand, I mean. Investigations undertaken by Ruang Jaren 2014. Innocent seems to be no exceptions. Let's go to methodology and data collections. We use TEST. TEST is used to design to collect the data regarding the problems of acquiring and learning English prepositions by innocent learners of English. And then the test consists of 20 sentences, 41 subjects who are supposed to select the best possible answer out the choices from a list with appropriate English prepositions. Let's go to a result discussions because we have a limited time. To analyze the data, percentage of correct and wrong usage of prepositions in each sentence was calculated. And then the right and wrong usage of prepositions of the subjects in each sentence was counted, classified, and then analyzed. We will show two examples for our findings, like the sentence when we arrive, blah, 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 the stations we about us frame. There are three options for the best answer: in, on, I'm sorry, there are four answers in this sentence: in, on, to, and zero. Unfortunately, most subjects answered this sentence incorrectly. 34 subjects or 83% employed the prepositions to. They are tends to they answer, they fill the blank with the prepositions to instead of the correct item, which is the prepositions at. And then another examples in the sentence, like the sentence, my friend invited us yesterday, but we didn't arrive, blah, blah, blah time. Yeah, the sentence suggests that 27 subjects or 67% selected the wrong prepositions in to fill the gap, and the 39 subjects or 95% answered the other wrong choice at instead of the correct one prepositions on. Now conclusions. The findings of research reveal that Indonesian learners of English experience serious difficulties and problems in using the correct prepositions. The data prove without any doubt that linguistic transfer exists. Language transfers of language interference, which is related directly to the problem of literal translations from Indonesia into English, is the main source of the problem. However, when the two languages employ different prepositions, students respect to their standard Indonesia, which results in negative transfer take place. I think this is our presentations in this afternoon. I will give the time back to moderator. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pak Agus Budiarto from Universitas Madura. I would like to confirm with the PIC of the room, Ibu Karel.
Yeah.
Do we immediately have the Q&A or should we wait until all presentations are done?
We will do it after the presentation. All the presenters are done.
Okay. Yes, thank you. So that was all from the first presenter. I would like to invite all the audience to give a round of applause for the first presenter. Thank you very much, Pak Agus, Ibu Liza, and
Thank you
Ibu
very much.
Sofia. Yes. Okay. I'll give the time and screen back to the PIC of the room.
Okay, thank you, Pak Agus Budiharto, for the insightful presentation. And now let's move on to the next presentation, which will be delivered by Cita Nuari Ishak and will be moderated by Pak Agus Budiharto. So time is yours. Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the next presenters will be delivered by the second presenters. The name is Cita. The screen is yours. Please, Cita.
Thank you, Pak Agus. Good afternoon, Ibu Bapak. Thank you very much for joining to this room. This is room 7. And I'm going to talk about a work in progress. So before I start my presentation, I would like to give a disclaimer that this is a work in progress. It hasn't finished yet. I'm still working on some of the data. And second of all, this is actually a way for me to ask help from you, presenters or the audience, whether or which part of this research that needs improvement. So later on, I would like to invite some of you to give me suggestions, advice, or maybe criticism about this topic. So this is the temporary title, Vocational EFL Students' Narratives from the Post-Pandemic English Classroom. And my name is Cita Nuari Ishak. I'm currently affiliated with these two institutions in Malang. Okay, probably let's have a quick reminiscence of what had happened previously in Indonesia 2 years ago in 2020. So this is the COVID-19 timeline in our country. The first case was found on March, and then not long after that, everything, especially education system, was switched to the online or remote learning. So as you can see down here, school closed for in-person learning and it shifted to remote learning. So I believe that most universities and institutions, they have already experienced the remote learning or probably blended or flipped learning before. But to my understanding, most of institutions in Indonesia, they're not really accustomed to have this remote learning. And then all of a sudden, we need to move from the traditional face-to-face classroom to the fully online classroom, which according to some studies later on conducted within 2020 or 2021, those studies reveal that there are some challenges that are faced by our students. And I'd like to take a look on what has happened in the social media during that time. This is still in the pandemic time between 2020 up to 2021. It's very interesting to see that there are now accounts on Twitter, one of the social media, under names like College Manifest. If you're not really familiar with this type of accounts, it's actually an anonymous accounts where they welcome all Twitter users to send their tweets to be published online, but anonymously. So let's see this tired-looking Mona Lisa in the middle. This was posted on November 2020, so probably not long ago after everything was conducted online. It says here that we need to post the memes, reflecting their situations about the online learning. So you can see they're probably feeling very tired and very shocked with all the sudden changes. And then throughout the next year, 2021, you can see the 4 boxes surrounding this meme. Some students have voiced their frustrations with the online learning, and that they this one in the left bottom It says that they really missed the offline meetings where they can go to the cafeteria with their friends and meeting face to face with their teachers. But then there are some other voices which are more of a positive, showing positive attitude, like the first one at the top right. It mentions that online learning is really convenient for them because they didn't have to take a bath in the morning, which I think we can relate to that, yeah, especially during those times. And then another voice raised there is highlighting the challenges that students feel when they have the online meetings. It's quite funny at the, what is it, bottom right? When they were in the online classroom, especially for the synchronous ones, the neighbors decided to cut all those ceramics, yeah. And then suddenly all roosters, contributed to the whole situation of the online learning. So this is what happened. This is a quick landscape of what the young people, especially the college students, uh, feel during this time, 2020 up to 2021. And then these voices are then amplified by some research findings, where if you type on Google's or any other journal websites, this topic has received great attention from scholars about how students feel, how they experience these changes from the face-to-face meetings to online instruction. So I'd like to invite you to read these three publications, recent ones. The first one is looking at how students feel, or how our students experiences through the change from the offline to the online setting. Students' narratives reflected the following issues. The first one is that they encountered some interruptions, as has been mentioned before by by one of the tweets, where it's very inconvenient for students to have the online class from home because of so many distractions from their surroundings. And then passive learning as a habit. So students somehow feel negative toward those changes, especially when they have to attend the online class. And then the negative feeling was somehow became the became something that most students are accustomed to. Yeah, so this what is meant by passive learning as a habit. And then low flexibility to suit new conditions. And some students under this study, they reported that it was very challenging for them to manage the time because they stayed at home. It means they were visible to their family members, and sometimes they have to help around the house, which also happened in my case. Some students, especially when we had morning classes, they reported that they couldn't attend the class on time because they still take they must take their brothers or sisters somewhere, or they must help their mothers to do something else. And then unavailability of resources. So this was highlighting how students feel about their online experience, their online learning experience. The second one is an impressive study done by Pasaribu and Dewi, I think from Universitas Sanata Dharma. They have different their studies show different results in that students feel that the online learning has given them a deeply personal and meaningful experience. And even though they also experience the same challenges as has been reported, as later was reported by Zagar, but they still able to overcome the obstacle by focusing on the value of learning. So I believe there must be a lot of factors contributing to these different results, different feelings felt by students. And then another study by USNI, they were interesting to find whether students prefer offline or online meeting. And then they found out that most students believe that both learning activities, whether online or offline, presented similar stages, and that the level of comprehension in learning depended on the instructor explanations. It showed us the role of instructors are very influential to how students feel about their learning experience. Okay, but that these studies picture or summarize what has happened in our Indonesian EFL classroom during the pandemic time. So I'm interested to see at how these students feel when we switch back from the online to offline setting. And then I look back at the social media because it's one of the easiest way to see how things go for students. And then it was, I think it's not really surprising. I think as a teacher, we can anticipate this type of complaints by our students. Some mentioned that they're not ready for the offline meeting and that the offline meeting drains them physically and mentally. And then some even surprised by themselves because it turned out that the offline meetings was very exhausting. And then some even opened the discussion, opened the narratives in Twitter, whether they actually enjoy the offline meetings. So I'm interested to look at how the students feel and students experience when they switch back from the online, from the fully online meeting during the pandemic to the fully traditional face-to-face meeting post-pandemic, after the pandemic. So in my case, in Malang, we begin to have the full offline meeting not long ago, this semester, at the beginning of this semester. And to be very honest, I think even though the government has informed us about that new regulation, I mean, switching back from the online to offline, but the sudden change was actually felt by not only the students, but also the teachers, because it's quite abrupt. And so this poses some questions. The first one is, how do students feel about this abrupt change? I think this is the most interesting question that I have. I mean, looking at these changes throughout these, at least these past 3 years. And then what has been the change, what has been the challenge in the change? Yeah, so I'm interested to see whether students have or face some challenges in the abrupt change from the online back to offline. And then what issues are raised from that challenge, from that, from what students feel, from the challenges that they face. I would like to see the issues that are raised there. So in order to better answer these questions, I asked around 51 students from 2021 cohort to write a reflective essays. And they are all the English department students from Polytechnic Negeri Malang. So they are Polytechnic students. The reason for choosing this group of students is because they experience fully online learning during the first and second semester, and then in the third semester they switched to traditional face-to-face meeting, which I have mentioned before that it's quite abrupt. Probably we were given about a month to prepare for the offline meetings. To analyze, or probably to better understand the reflective essays, I'm going to use the qualitative content analysis approach. And here are some justifications of choosing this method, this approach. First, I deal with a rich data that requires interpretation. The goal is to identify important themes within the body of text, within the body of reflective essays written by students. And then I would like to, I aim to provide rich description of the social reality created by those themes. Okay, here are the steps of conducting content analysis qualitatively.
2 minutes
and
left,
then these, thank you, Bukarel. So I would like to know how students feel about this change. So I focus on some of the most repeated words, and it turns out that the word feel is in rank 44 with 99 occurrences in the text in my data. So if I look at the word feel, I found that feel collocates with this word, feel scared, feel so long, feeling hard. sometimes I also feel something. Yeah, but there are all another objects of feel fine, feel panic, feel joy. It's very interesting to see this collocation of word, how what feel collocates with. And then I also look at the data, and then this is other rough finding. This is not what is it, the fixed one that I already analyzed or what. Yeah, this is just a rough raw data. Some students reported that they have fear and insecurity on offline classroom learning. Dealing with lectures and friends face to face sometimes makes them feel insecure and afraid to express their opinion in front of the class. Okay, and then there are another mixed feelings. Yeah, this is highlighting the change of feelings. Offline classes makes me happy. That's a positive one. Feel more productive. On the other hand, they also feel depressed because they're frequently mentally and physically exhausted. Yeah, this is also highlighting how our students are more aware about the mental health issues nowadays. So they're better at voicing their feelings. Okay, so the second questions is about the challenges. So I tried to look at the word difficult and the word challenge, and then it also reveals reasons or the objects of feelings difficult or the challenges that are faced by them. Okay, and then the third question is issues raised from these from the students' reflective essays. Is that the issues of motivation? It turns out that they are in a constant need of motivation, even though they just move from the online to offline. And then we can also try to identify what motivation that they need the most. Yeah, and then the issue of adapting. Yeah, so it's a pity actually for them because they have to adapt from offline to online, and then once they feel very comfortable with the online situation, they must adapt again to the offline meetings. Yeah, and then an issue of fear. What do they fear? So yeah, there are so many issues that are present from the students' reflective essays. If you're interested in probably doing collaborative research, you can contact me through my email. Thank you very much, Ibu dan Bapak. I really look forward to your suggestions and advice. I'll give the time back to Pak Agus and also Ibu Karel. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Okay, so thank you for the insightful presentations from Ms. Chita and Mr. Agus and team. And now we are entering the Q&A session for all presenters. Please raise your hand by clicking the reaction, then mention your name, affiliation, and to whom the question is addressed, and also what the question is. Thank you. And maybe we have one questions from Laksmi Widyarini from Sarjana Wiyata Tamassiswa Yogyakarta. It's for Puchita Nuairi. So I have tried several times with my students in university doing discussion without any browsing online or any internet. And they commented, wah susah mikir kalau nggak pakai browsing. So, what is your view on my issue above? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ibu Laksmi. First of all, I'd like to give many thanks to you for that. So the issues was about students' dependence on technology. Previously, during the online meeting, they can rely heavily on the internet and then the use of Google Translate. And then what else? Another artificial intelligence that help them perform in their English class, like Grammarly as well. Yeah, susah nih kalau nggak pakai internet. Yeah, it adds another points. Yeah, in my project, I can probably add that students' dependence on technology without any supervisions from the teacher. Yeah, because we cannot control what they're using when they are online. But then when we're back to offline, and then we begin to supervise how much internet they consume in our class, it becomes a problem because they are so dependent on that. Probably that's what is it? One thing that they need to adapt better when they are back to offline, and then that's the harsh reality that they have to face. But then, as a teacher, I think we can also allow them, probably to some extent, how much internet, how much technology that they can use to support their learning, Ibu. So maybe as a teacher, it'll be wise not to what is it? Ask them not to use technology or internet at all, but probably at some point we can allow them to use internet and search engines and technology at class to support their learning. Thank you very much. That experience from Ibu Laksmi can really add another insight to my project. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Ibu. Thank you, Ibu Karel.
Thank you, Miss Chita, for the answer. So, is there any questions for Pak Agus and team, and also Bu Chita? If
I think
yes, please.
I have a question for the first presenters.
Okay.
Yes, I think it's very relatable topic, Pak Agus. Yes, prepositions has always been a problem. I have no idea when to use on, at. Sometimes I mixed up everything. Once you have identified that our first language, our Bahasa Indonesia, has affected our understanding and our using of prepositions, is there any what is it? Do you have any suggestions, any ideas on how we can teach preposition better, knowing that in our language we don't have the same system of preposition as we do have in English? How should we teach it better? Thank you, Pak Agus and team.
Thank you very much for the questions from Chita. I think the best strategy can be used for teaching preposition is by using a picture. And then we can show the picture like we can show students the picture table, and then on the table there is apple. So the students will be better understand about positions on by showing the picture table, and also there is apple on the table. So the kind of best strategy is by using picture, I think. Thank you very much for the questions, Chita.
Okay, thank you, Pak Agus, for the answer for Chita. Is there any other questions? If yes, please raise your hand by clicking the reaction. Maybe I have a question for Bu Chita. So I have just done my PPL program at the beginning of this semester, but sometimes it was very hard for me to, as a pre-service teacher, to build students' motivation, because they just, they just experience the online learning and then they shift again into the face-to-face learning. So do you have any suggestion how can we build the students' motivation to conduct the offline learning on the post-pandemic era? Thank you.
Thank you. That's a difficult question. I think you should ask that question to a more experienced teacher. Yeah, I'm not that experienced, but I think a couple of days ago I attend another conference, and then they have the same question as you do. I think it has been our questions. Once I think it will be our question, like it will be forever the question for ourselves as teacher, yeah, how to maintain students' motivations at class, especially when they are in the middle of adapting back from online to offline. So yeah, I attended that conference, and then they told me, so what I'm going to tell you is actually taken from that answer. I'm just copy paste here. I just copy paste here, and then it says we can bring the artifacts from the online system to the offline. So for example, when we teach reading, it is encouraged to not using the conventional modules or long and difficult text, but rather we take something from the internet and then we print them out and then we bring that to class. So students still have the feeling of something online, yeah, even though it's just the artifacts, it's just the printed out version from the internet. Yeah, maybe that can help, but I think I'm sorry, I cannot give you a better answer. I hope other teachers, more experienced teacher, can share their experience to motivate students more. But thank you for the question.
Thank you, Wichita, for the answer. Okay, so is there any other questions again? Okay, if not, maybe we can just end the parallel session in this room. So thank you very much for the insightful presentation and discussion. Now, you can just move into the another breakout room if you want to, and then you can leave this breakout room and return to the main room after 2 p.m. Thank you very much for the fruitful discussion and have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, Bu
Thank
Karno. Thank
you.
you, Pak Agus. Thank you, Bu
Thank
Laksmi.
you,
Thank you,
Wichita.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everybody.